Greetings from Planet Mental Mambo. So the past few days, I was reminded of one of my favorite stories that I love to tell to leaders struggling to accept change. So once upon a time, there was an erratic king, always emotionally volatile, depressed, angry, furious, elated, down in the dumps, out and about. The result, his tax base was disappearing. People were leaving the kingdom. He gathered his board of advisors. They gave him sage advice, which he rubbished and chased them out. Later that night, his wife advised him to seek the wisest counsel in the kingdom. And he listened to that. He started searching and questioning, and people pointed him to a forest next to the castle. These stories always have that kind of setup. Forest next to the castle. He was to walk into the depths of the forest and meet up with the wisest man in the kingdom. But he needed to know that this person only accepted any visitor dressed in plain clothes, or even better, in rags. So he got himself some rags. Barefoot he went. This king, this erratic king, he journeyed into the forest, got to a shack, knocked on the door. Someone looking like a beggar opened the door, invited him in, listened to his problems, and asked him for a bag of gold coins. Now, being the king, he was carrying a bag of gold coins, and he just gave it to this person, and the person asked him to return in 3 months' time. On the way back, the king had some thoughts about the 3 months and the gold coins, of course. After 3 months, he dressed in rags. He went back again, knocked on the door. The person opened for him and showed him a reconciliation of the gold coins. He said, let me weigh off the gold coins I kept for myself for 1 year's upkeep. All the rest I used in a shaping, in a jewelry process with some of my collaborators, and I've made you some jewelry. So he gave back the king's gold to him, and engraved on these pieces of jewelry to be worn on the king's wrist and around his neck were written words like, change keeps happening. Everything keeps changing. Nothing ever stays the same. So the king said thank you, took the jewelry, started wearing them, started taking them seriously. And from then on, the kingdom prospered more and more. People returned, tax base strengthened, and everybody lived happily ever after under the rule of the newly acquired wise king. So hashtag, may you be the acceptance dance of the fact that change is probably the closest we've got to a constant in this life.